Ready? Ooh. You guys actually don't know how hard that was for us to do right there.
It literally took 2 takes. 2 takes.
High tech.
Welcome back, everybody. 3 Uncool Cats. Alan, Bobbity B,
Hey.
Andrew. This week we're doing what could possibly be the most influential guitar player ever, Mr. Robert Johnson. We did King of the Delta Blues, which has pretty nearly all of his 29 songs that he did. I think a lot of them are duplicates that he's done a few times, which is kind of the mystique that he has. You know, he only has, they say 29 songs. I don't even know if it's that many.
Right.
Of course, he's known for his big story. He was kind of a crappy guitar player, crappy songwriter, goes away for a little while, comes
6 months.
back,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he's Mr. Robert Johnson.
Yeah.
So rumor has it he made a little deal with the devil in exchange for some talent. You could say he got it. I mean, 60 some odd years later, we're all talking about him still.
Yeah.
I think he's the guitar vocabulary of countless famous, influential guitar players.
Yeah.
I mean, he's where you start. Even if you don't know that's where you're starting, if you're listening to somebody from the 60s, 70s, 80s guitar player, they've stolen something from Robert Johnson, basically. Yeah. It's pretty interesting to me, too, that Sunhouse is what got him into the blues, which is pretty amazing, that there's actually somebody before Robert Johnson.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, Robert Johnson, this was in 1936. I think Bob was like 10.
Oh my goodness, shots fired.
I remember those days.
But yeah, so that's kind of why I brought this to the table. You got to admit, when you're listening to it, it's a little hard to get the mix. Technology in 1936 wasn't too good.
Well,
so.
he literally was sitting in a room.
Yeah, with just a microphone. So,
yeah, and that was it.
But you can tell, from his licks, you can tell where everybody steals things from, his lyrics.
Yeah.
My favorite lyric that I think he made was, "Squeeze the juice out of my lemon." I mean, come on.
So, Bob, if I can interject something here, you're the word wordsmith here. So, what's he talking about there? I don't understand what he's talking about there.
When he says, "Feel the juice run down
squeeze
my
my lemon
until the juice runs down my leg."
Because he asks, he goes, "You know what I mean?" He even says that song.
I think he knows what he means.
What's he mean?
I don't know.
Bob's like, I'm not even going to play that game.
I guess we'll leave that up to your imagination.
They liked lemonade back then.
I think Robert Plant kind of told us what that meant. Really.
Yeah, right.
But, so I brought this to the table just, because of how influential it is for just Jeff Beck.
Everybody.
Eric Clapton, everybody. Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, you know.
CROSSROADS has been covered, I don't know, at least 10 million times.
Yeah, and Sweet Home Chicago.
Sweet Home Chicago. Terraplane Blues has
Dust
been
My
covered.
Broom. Everybody
Yep.
has done a version of Dust My Broom.
So, but we'll just hear... We'll start with Alan on this one because Bob talked a long time on the last one.
He needs to rest his vocal.
He needed a lozenge.
That's a shirt. Bob needed a lozenge. Hang on, let me put it on our shirt thing. Dang. We're going to start selling
That was a week ago. I've recuperated by now.
Hang on, so Bob needed a lozenge. When we're huge, we're going to sell Bob's lozenges.
It'd be like Harry's razors. Will be Bob's lozenges.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Hey man, allergies are big down here. We'll be millionaires.
I like it. I like it.
Subscribe.
So we can sell this merchandise. We've got so much. So strangely though, some of our shirt ideas are "Don't kick the Chihuahua." What's in the cup stays in the cup. I think that was you.
Yeah.
Both of those were you. You said "Don't kick the Chihuahua." Stay uncool, like what you like. And you there was like 4 episodes you kept saying, and I said self. and make us laugh. Green go, damn, you got all the good lines. I give it one likey. All right, we got to up our game.
I know.
Yeah.
So anyway, to get back to the thing, there was at one point in my life to where literally all I listened to was the blues. That's it. I was listening to the blues. I was reading about the blues. I was watching documentaries about the blues. And what people don't understand is that we would have no modern music without Robert Johnson. We wouldn't have jazz. We wouldn't have blues. We wouldn't have rock. We wouldn't have soul. We wouldn't have none. We'd have rockabilly. Everything came
Groupies?
from... Yes. Yes. So everything came from this guy. And like you said, the influence he had, Sunhouse tells the story. You and I have seen it. I think maybe you've seen it too, where he goes, this kid was making an awful racket.
Yep.
And we're like,
people would tell him not to let him play his
don't
guitar.
Let him play. And he goes away for 6 months. He comes back, and we're like,
Yep.
but what? Sunhouse was the big guy at the time. Even he changed the way he played because of Robert Johnson. So, so when you listen to it, there is no way. As a young man, even though I was a blues guy, I didn't go that deep until I was older. There was no way I could have listened to this and liked it.
See, it's very odd because I listened to this when I was really young. My brother kind of told me about him, and I had the complete recordings, tape, cassette. Yep. I wore that thing out.
Well,
I think, I said in the beginning about the mix and how it was, but I think that's really...
part of the charm.
Exactly. It's like the charm, and to me, like the age of this, it's like... It just blows me away, the age of this.
It literally captures a moment. It's an honest moment. It's an honest moment about what was going on with this guy. But
this is one take stuff. They didn't do it.
Right. And when I finally got to here, it took me, even though I was a closet blues lover, when I started getting serious about guitars when I ended up here, because all the guys, they always go, this is who I listen to, and it all ends up
Clapton, he's God to
huge,
Clapton.
Huge. So when I finally got there, by that time, my ear was...
Before you... Am I imagining this, or didn't Eric Clapton do a whole Robert...
Yes.
Okay.
There's a whole,
I thought he did one, but then I thought maybe I thought maybe it was a dream. You know how that happens.
Yeah.
No, it's a whole album.
That's happened to me.
It's a whole album of Robert Johnson
That's what I thought.
songs.
Yep.
And he did some of them in the same building.
Yep, I remember with that video. They had a movie too. About
it was very cool. So by the time I get there as a guitar player, my ear is adjusted to going, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It is. It's amazing. And there are certain. My wife would rather jump out of the window than listen to this.
My wife would rather listen to Buck Owens than this.
Really? But man, I'm telling you, like you said, the rawness of it, the truth of it, and just knowing how there would be no modern music without it.
Yeah, and you listen to it too, and you're like, well, I've heard those licks before. Yeah, that's his lick, though.
That you stole. You stole. Everybody's done a version of it. But see, too, not just music. Look at the other cultural aspects of this. We all know the story.
Yep.
We all know the story. I guarantee you, there's a million references to it in literature. There's references in it in movies. There was even a movie, Crossroads, where they were kind of hinting, we're going to go back and find Robert Johnson's lost song.
The Steve Vai part was great, by the way.
Well, even the Macchio part when he was doing the Paganini part, oh my gosh, on a telly.
Yep.
I'm a telly guy.
Those little pig nose.
Yeah, I'm a little telly guy, man. I love tellies. But
my favorite line in that movie, because Ralph Macchio in the beginning, he's a classical guitar player, and he has this really crappy acoustic guitar because he thinks that's what you have to play the blues.
Yeah.
And when he meets the old guy, Willie Brown, Willie goes, they had electricity back then.
Right, yes.
And that's when they bought the telly when he did say
every
that.
5 or 6 years will go by, and I'll just get that movie out and just watch it.
It's cheesy but cool at the same time.
It is. It's one of those. It's a comfort movie.
Yeah, it's like a cult classic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now, so this guy, he's influenced so many things in our culture over the years. And if I can plug my other podcast, there are 2 stories, literally 2 stories influenced by Robert Johnson, because I'm such a huge fan. One of those stories is called Mojo, and the other one is called The Night Robert Johnson Died, where I take the Robert Johnson story and I put different, it's all about Robert Johnson, but there are other characters that are in there that get involved in some spooky stuff, those are two of my most watched episodes, which brings me hope that there are people out there going, I get it.
Yep.
There's Robert Johnson. This cat likes Robert Johnson. We like Robert Johnson. But if you look at it from some of the stuff that he was writing about, this man, he was coming from a dark place.
Man.
He was coming from a dark place. He was apparently
I guess
a womanizer.
what would you say? Did he love his women? I mean, I guess he did.
He was definitely I don't know.
He loved the women, but not necessarily loved the women.
Right. Well, like 32. What's
3220?
3220. Okay.
Love that tune. Too.
So on the story I was telling you called Mojo.
Yep.
That song is the song that drives the bad guy in that story, he keeps singing 3220 Blues, right?
I put that as like my deep cut. I don't know why that song isn't covered more than it is.
Right. Well, probably because he's going to blow my woman away.
And I love it because the other gun's too small, but he's
That's
got
right.
a 3220.
He says, right. He says, she got a 38 special, but it's too light.
3220, it'd do very well.
I'm gonna. So getting. There's a reason why that was probably not covered more than it is today, but very dark lyrics, and then he sold his soul to the devil, and there's two or three.
Then Hellhound on My Trail
Yes.
kind of feeds the fire up.
And
No pun intended. But.
Right, and if you listen to people who knew him, they said that he really was concerned about his soul. He really was concerned about darkness following him, and. One of the stories that is told about the night he died, there's two big stories. One is that he was poisoned.
Yep.
Right? And, but...
And the other one is Bob's favorite. He had syphilis.
Yeah.
That's what the doctor said. It contributed. But no, I also heard he was shot and he could have been stabbed.
Yeah.
So.
Right. So and that just adds to the mythos and the legend of it.
But and not to mention too, he's the originator of the 27 Club.
Oh, he is he not?
He died when he was 27.
Right. Yes.
Him, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix,
Janis Joplin. Yeah, so many.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is odd.
Yeah, it is, and it makes you wonder. So my favorite story, and it's one of them that I kind of reiterate in the story I was telling about the night Robert Johnson died, is that literally he was crawling around on all fours, crying, foaming at the mouth, saying, they're here to get me. And, so to me, I just love spooky stories, so it was just fascinating to me. And then to put yourself in a situation, you go, okay, now, again, this is very rural times that you're going to go out in the middle of a field.
Mississippi.
In Mississippi.
As a black man.
You're right. The cultural times, too.
Yep.
A black man out by himself at night, right? At a crossroads out in the middle of nowhere to meet the devil.
Yep.
I mean, there were so many things that could have happened physically to him, spiritually to him, which ultimately it looks like he did do something spiritual. And, but, just being able to say, all right, how would that look? It's dark. The only light is a moonlight, and then something crawls or walks out of the cornfield beside you and says, "Hey, let's make a little deal." It's just terrifying. But anyway, so
is that why you're such a good bass player, Bob?
No. No, but I heard it a different way, where it was actually in the daytime.
Yeah.
And he went seeking the devil.
Yeah.
Because he wanted fame and fortune.
That's it. Yeah.
And then when they met, I can't remember the rest of how it goes, but similar to what you said, but it was just a little different twist.
A little nuance.
Just different take on the legend, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to hear my take on that story, the night Robert Johnson died, and Mojo. Listen to those two stories on the Nevermore Hollows podcast. Like and subscribe. Give me 5 stars.
It's not as good as ours, but it's all right.
So all right. So all right. With that, I think it was. I'll just tell you this. I loved it. I loved everything about it. So thank you for bringing this, because I listen to this stuff all the time anyway.
Yep.
But being able to share it with Bob, who, not sure where Bob lands on this kind of stuff. So, with no further ado, Bob.
I hate it. No, I listened to it.
That's not what I said. I said I hate this.
Unicorn.
Yeah.
He said the R word.
Bologna sandwich.
No, that's not the R word.
No, the R word.
He's going to get fined.
Yeah.
He's getting points taken off.
What word was that? Was that the Y word?
I don't know.
K word.
I'm so disgusted with. No.
He hates me.
I want to get back to the subject. The Robert Johnson, to me.
Let me ask, have you heard this before? Like, were you into that before I brought it up? Or?
I was never into that old, because you can find people that play blues today that are trying to some degree mimic him.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Even Eric Clapton said that.
Oh, yeah.
He said, I stopped trying.
Yep.
Well, he had a different way. Now, what I am is a rhythm guy.
Okay, you're going where I was getting ready to go in a minute. Yeah,
And
go for it.
Here's my take on how
That's what he does.
But I was trying to
He does a
count it.
lot of that thumb
I was
stuff.
sitting in the truck.
it doesn't add up.
Yeah, because you're like, okay,
It adds
one,
up to
two.
1936 math, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
but literally you're going 1, 2,
Yep.
3, 4,
And then it hiccups.
It's just
4,
whatever
and
he had
1.
to sing is what he made it into.
here's
Yep.
here's the way I look at it. The licks, the guitar licks that he had,
Mm-hmm.
I look at as tools that he used.
Let me ask you guys something. In 1930, like, and this is a
They
real
had rhythm
question.
back then.
No, like in 1936, like, what was the music theory? Did he know he was like playing an open G?
Oh, see, I don't
Like,
know.
you know
Listen.
what I'm saying? Like, did he know like what he was actually tuning to?
And then you think it was so rural.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
did they get?
yeah.
How did they have?
Yeah, and how did they know what a G sound? His G sounded like different.
Well, they
than
had
his.
pianos.
Oh yeah, but you
Yeah.
still got to tune those too, though.
Yeah, because I know I
Well,
grew up very rural, and I didn't have access to that stuff, and it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
So almost 100 years
that's
earlier.
something that, like, again, because of the age of it, I'm like, does he even know he's like playing an open chords?
But see,
He
that's
just
what they
tuned
were
to
getting. That's what
Yeah.
Sunhouse was going to go. We didn't know what he was playing.
Well, and part of that legend was the devil took his guitar and turned around back to him and dropped the D. Or dropped the 2D. Tuned it in drop D.
Is that the devil's note?
Ah.
The drop D?
That's what I was thinking.
Well,
D for devil.
grunge. So much of grunge
It
was
is
in drop D.
So, no, but I felt like rhythm wise, at first it disturbed me
Yeah.
because I couldn't find the one
Right. Yep.
or the 4 or
There
the
isn't
3.
one,
or-
that's why.
I was sitting out in the truck before I came over here. I was a little early.
Yep.
I was sitting over in the church parking lot, and I was going 1, 2.
There isn't one.
No, there isn't one. But then I think, but that's his way.
Yeah.
And he would write lyrics and sing the way he sung, and then when there was room for a lick in there, he'd put
Yep.
it in, whether it was in 6/8 or 4/4.
That's right.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
And it all,
That's the beauty of not having a band, I guess.
yeah, because if I had to play with it,
The
I
drummer would
couldn't.
be like,
Yeah. He just throw his sticks.
Yeah.
Just, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm out of here. But there's one thing I know. He loved music. He loved music. I saw one guy interviewed that was working with him in the fields. They were picking cotton.
Yeah.
could you,
And he
he was doing that when he's a kid, too.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
oh, yeah.
but they couldn't keep him in the field.
Yeah.
And he went up, he took 3 nails. Have you heard this?
I've heard this, yes.
He put 3 nails in the side of the house.
Yeah.
And got 3 pieces of wire and strung them down, and then put a bottle between the
Nice.
siding and the strings to get it tuned where he
Yeah.
wanted it. And then he'd use something as a slide on
It's
these.
like a steel guitar in his
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
He just
On the side of the house.
had to play.
Yeah.
who else would do that in order to make a musical sound?
Yeah.
And it's funny because he was so bad in the beginning.
Yeah.
He wanted to just make it, like you said, make it sound good.
Yeah.
And I bet he was writing lyrics then.
He probably was too. Yeah.
Because he probably took the lyrics that he already had.
And tried to play it on the.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they said he would leave the field and he'd be sitting around the other side of the house in the shade playing his guitar.
Yeah. Buddy Guy tells a similar story, and he says, he goes, I was just trying to make music however I could make music whenever I wasn't doing something in the field. So, but he also says if it wasn't for Robert Johnson, I couldn't have done what I did.
Yep.
Well, it struck me as being a lot like Navin in The Jerk.
He found his purpose. Yeah.
Right.
But he's
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't know where the beat was, but he was going to play anyway.
That's right. Yep.
So.
But I'd say again, it was part of that allure.
Yep.
Nobody today could pull that off. Nobody. If you had a guy, no matter if he was or she was a genius, showed up today and was playing like that, everybody go, "What on earth is this person up to?"
And they sure as hell wouldn't give him a record deal.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but you listen after you listen to the whole album, and I listened to it several times. I drove back and forth to Athens a couple times, and would listen.
I just gotta tell you a story because
he interrupts me every time I get to the good
so
part.
Much out of me. Like you just you
and now
you make me a better person, Bob. When you say something, it makes me think of things, and it makes me a better person.
Trust me, I've known him for a while. He doesn't think often. So.
Well, go ahead. You better.
And he didn't make me a better person either.
Don't lose it.
But when you were talking about driving around, I was listening. I had my windows down driving home from work with this blasted.
Yeah.
From 1936 in 2024, I have this blasting out of my truck.
Isn't that amazing? Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, and that's what I did. Not probably to that degree, but I was listening to it as I would any music that I liked, and I was trying to get from it where he was mentally and musically in that era.
Yeah.
Because that's a big thing to me. We talk about time travel, and I was only 10 years old in 1936, so... But, no, I mean, he was in cotton picking days. I mean, I know they pick cotton still today, but, I mean...
they said he was. When he was young, he's out there picking cotton.
Yeah. It was a rough time, and his family had been through a lot.
I wonder if the music came
around.
out of that, too.
Well, I'm sure it did.
I'm sure it did.
I'm sure it did.
Yep.
He probably looked for anything.
Escape, like.
Yeah.
I mean, that really, it's like being in jail and you just try to do whatever to get your mind
Well, that's
out
literally
of it.
what Buddy Guy and Muddy Waters said.
Yeah.
We didn't want that life.
Yeah.
That life's a hard life. So.
Yeah. And the lyrics that he wrote, half the time didn't rhyme.
Right.
Yep.
But it was something
He had a
in
cadence
him.
that made it
That's
like...
it.
Yes. It had to come out. So, and I noticed, and I don't know whether the songs were in sequence that he recorded them or not, but it seemed like toward the end of the album, they were more in time.
Yeah.
They were more the rhythm was more identifiable then.
Yeah.
And his licks were cleaner and different ways of playing them that
In like 3 days, he like tightened it up.
hey, really, yeah.
That's the devil going.
Yeah,
Tighten it up, boy.
It's tighten it up. I didn't teach you that, boy.
So there were a couple of, in his singing too, a lot of people don't understand, they're going to listen to it and they're going to go, what am I
What is he
listening
singing? Yeah.
But you're like you're saying, it was that cadence. But now there's one moment, what I took away from it is at times it was like a schizophrenic was singing.
Yep.
Because he's singing kind of low and they're saying, woohoo!
I love when he does like that. It's so, like that little improv. Is just
Yes.
like,
And that probably was not something anybody else was doing then.
Right.
That just came out of him.
Right, and then, but there's a couple of songs where he's literally singing his ass off.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
You're like, man, he's killing it right there, right? He's really killing it. But most of the time, his singing was frantic and kind of all over the place, like his playing. So you have to go, what was it?
Yeah.
There was something more than the music going on there that it resonates where people, I mean, and there are hardcore Robert Johnson fans all over the world, man, that are listening to this stuff.
Absolutely.
All races.
Ireland, I bet.
I don't know.
Australia.
Australia's hooking up with Robert Johnson.
That's right. So, but, and even some of his lyrics today probably, I mean, I don't know if they'd be able to get published today. When you're talking Dust My Broom, what he's talking about, killing women all the time, right? But then,
he's either beating them up or killing them.
That's right. Or this one,
I laugh, but I don't mean to laugh.
Right, right.
And also, that was, a parlance of their time. That's
right.
the way,
it is a snapshot.
I don't think they treated that, that's the way, that's a great word, a snapshot.
It's a snapshot of the culture at the time. And I mean, we obviously we don't condone any violence toward anybody, especially women, but these songs, you have to go. He was speaking from his truth or some truth that he's seen somewhere.
Yep.
So then you go like on Dust My Broom. He says, "I don't want no woman. Wants every downtown man she meets." Well, I've been there.
Well, I don't either.
I don't want no woman who wants every downtown. So then when he says, "All right, my woman, she cheating on me," well, you know what? I'm going to call up China because she's over in China. She'll give me some loving. Or, wait a minute, I can find her in the Philippines Islands. She must be in Ethiopia somewhere. So it's almost racist lyrics by today's standards, when we're in the cancel culture. So some of this stuff would never get done today. Bob?
I think you are in deep thought, Bob.
Yeah, look at him. He's thinking hard.
Deep thoughts.
I'm trying to
Jack
remember.
Candy.
No, I enjoy one of the things I enjoy the most about doing this is looking back at what was going on at that time with Buck Owens. That's more it for me than the music itself. But you have to look at that music and say those people were doing that at that time. And some of it was good, some of it was bad, but it was honest.
Yeah, and there you go. We've talked about that before, the honesty.
Yeah.
We all, whatever genre we listen to, there have been certain songs and albums that we've talked about that we clearly, I didn't like, or you didn't like, or he didn't like, but what we did gravitate to was the honesty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right.
And this guy, he was just in love with the process of doing the music. He just loved doing it. I don't think you could have got him to do anything else.
No. It's one of those, don't give yourself a fallback.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do.
Well, the fallback was horrible. That's why.
Right. Yeah. Back then, it was not a lot of choices for anybody in the rural areas, especially people of any color.
And at that time too, that was Depression time.
When he got married, and his wife and child died at childbirth.
Mm-hmm. That had to be an impact too. Good Lord.
And some say that was the crossroads.
Yeah.
That he chunked what he believed. And just got his salvation in his music.
Because at that moment, if life is going to be this hard, I might as well live it on my own terms. So, I get it, man, and that's a powerful thing to for anybody to reach a point of going. If this is life, then I'm going to live it the way I want to live it. One of the things that I love is the folks who have done versions of this. One of my favorite albums is it's called Rolling Stones, and it's a live album, and I forget what the name of that album is, but they do a lot of their old stuff, but they do
Keith Richards, he's another. He thinks Robert Johnson's a god too.
Yeah, they do.
He compared him to Bach.
Yeah, right. They do on this album.
It is for him. That's Rolling Stones would not be here if it wasn't for this dude from 1936.
Right.
That's what blows my mind.
And the Rolling Stones were so they'll tell
one
you.
Dude.
Yeah, they'll
one
tell
dude.
You. We even named ourselves after a Muddy Waters song, Rolling Stone, right? And but they were heavily steeped into this stuff.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And they made it popular. And that's the thing. There was a documentary I watched, and they were like, They go, Americans didn't realize what they had. We had Muddy at the time that the Rolling Stones were big.
Yeah, the British were all over it, and the Americans were like, "What?" Anyway, they didn't even,
we had Buddy Guy.
They were listening to Buck Owens.
Yeah,
The Beatles did a cover of Buck Owens. They were. He was fans. They were fans of him, and he was fans of them.
huh? Interesting.
Yeah.
I never was a Beatles fan, but
Neither was I.
during that time, we literally.
I just thought I'd throw it in
That's why
there.
I throw that bone out there.
we had all the blues greats, except for Robert Johnson, were still alive, and they were still playing in crappy little areas.
That's here. Okay, I still on this topic. What American guitar players did we have? None. What do we have? Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, all those dudes over there.
You're
Rory
right.
Gallagher playing.
They were all playing the blues and making it famous, and they come to America, and I remember, and one of those.
And you ever hear them? We're like, we're in the radio trying to tune this blues stuff in there.
It's like they were going, the Rolling Stones, they were talking to them, they go, we came over and we were just, that's B.B. King. And they go, people didn't know who B.B. King was until we helped make it all popular.
20 years later.
Right.
Yeah.
So, they were like, we can't believe you don't understand what you're sitting on over there in America. But, so, I mean, I love this kind of stuff. But, the Rolling Stones, when they did on this album, and I'll try to find, I've got it at the house, but they do a version of Love in Vain that is amazing. It is so freaking good. And on this particular version of it, Keith messes up at the start. And he if I'm remembering it right, he starts it. And
it sounds right.
Right, you can tell it's bad, right? And he goes, shit, I'm sorry, let's start over. And then they started over again. They left it in the album, which I thought was great.
That's perfect, yeah.
Yeah, but it's amazing. It is amazing. But one of my favorite lyrics of all time is "Love in Vain," when he says, the train left the station with 2 lights lit on behind. He goes, well, the blue light was my blues, and the red light was my mind. So he's dropping his woman off. So lyrically and poetically, you can go, all right.
And that's the thing, you don't think of him as a lyricist either.
No,
really,
but that right there, that is full on poetry. He's I'm leaving her, and the 2 lights on there. One of them is my blues, and one of them's the red one's my mind. What, is he angry about it? So you read into it from a poetic point of view.
Yeah, and it's subjective enough that you can come up with all kinds of ideas for what a lot of his stuff is. We don't know for sure.
Like squeeze my lemon until the juice runs
that could
down
be
my
anything.
leg.
I'm thinking he was making iced tea.
I thought he was more of a Jack Nicklaus type. A little iced tea, a little lemonade.
Golfer?
Jack Nicholson. No, Nicholas.
That's what I said.
What did you say?
I said Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah, the golfer.
Oh, Jack. Yeah, Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah.
I thought you said Nicholson. I'm sorry.
We're kicking him out of here.
What's he thinking?
I mean, this guy. Who's this guy?
I'm gonna start quoting
Where'd this guy come from?
3220 Blues, guys.
Order up. That was my New York coming out. Who's this guy?
This guy.
You motherfucker. You mother R word. Unicorn. Beep. Bologna sandwich.
All right, so again, and then before we finish it,
we finishing it?
well, I don't know. The Stop Breaking Down Blues. I love.
Don't I get an hour episode? Just kidding.
Yeah. Well, Bob's Buck Owens episode was 3 hours and 12 minutes, so we're only at 34 here.
Oh.
So we got a ways to
Yeah.
go. Well,
Let's just sit here.
Let's
for a
just
minute.
fill some space. Okay. But every time I'm walking down the street, some pretty mama start breaking down with me. Stop breaking down. Yes, stop breaking down. I mean, how many times has that happened to us? We're walking down the street, some hot mama comes in and starts breaking down on us. Happens to me like never.
Yeah. He works from home, stays from home.
Yeah. That's why I love coming here. This is the only time I get out of the house.
Wow. And he comes to a basement.
Yeah.
How sad is my life?
It is. It's
That the highlight of my week is in a basement with 2 sweaty old guys.
It's like you're bobbing the Bob Sweats.
Am I a Bob Sweat?
No.
Are we Bob Sweats?
That sounds dirty.
It does. But so, what kind of music does Bob and the Bob Sweats play? We never got to that last time.
Oh,
You know, it's
little rockabilly.
I was saying I was thinking when we came up with it last week that I was thinking rockabilly.
Yeah, we got stand-up bass over there. We got it.
I'm thinking Buckaroo Punk.
Is he just coined that phrase?
Yeah.
Buckaroo
We're gonna
Punk?
make it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
A new sound, man. We're doing it our own way.
Our own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an honesty to what we're about to do with this Buckaroo Punk
Well,
vibe.
You know,
It'd be a cultural
we did
phenomenon.
play together once, if you remember, and it was different.
Did we?
We did
Was
right
it
here.
Here?
Us three?
Yeah,
Oh, and did Message in a Bottle.
drums were over there.
We did Message in a Bottle that
Was
day.
that the night that I had gummies? Because I don't remember.
No, it was
I
after the show. We did Message in a Bottle.
We did Message in a Bottle.
Yeah, and remember Bob kept up real good on that one.
Yeah,
And we tried to do something else, and Bob was just such a great drummer, we couldn't keep up with
Well,
him.
I can tell you,
Well, that's why
Andy Summers, some of that police stuff
Chris
was quite
Stapleton
tricky.
called me.
Yeah, you were not playing it like he
Because
was.
I started saying,
You're playing power chords. You were playing the real chords.
yeah, so, I mean, I could play an F sharp diminished hypothesis
With the
just like
fifth.
anybody. Yeah, with the fifth in the
Cubed.
root. Yeah. I could play that just like anybody.
With your pinky
But,
in the
I
air.
don't want to. I want to
we can't
simplify
drink while
music.
we can't drink.
I don't
while
want to
we're
be an
playing.
arrogant bastard and be playing those types of chords. No, I want people to resonate. I want to think, oh my God, he's
It doesn't
a jazz
play all
musician.
four of my. If it doesn't use all four of my fingers, I'm not playing it. That's not a chord.
Yeah, you're a real bass player. Man, if I could only be like you guys.
Okay. So let me do this. Let me just open up for something. Bob, Andrew and I love you. You know I love
I
you.
recall you saying that.
You're like
prior
my,
to
yeah,
now
you're like my
also.
brother. You are. You're like my brother.
Oh, you like your
And-
brother?
Well, no, I hate my brother. But I like
You're
you.
like my brother. I hate my brother.
But we were so
Thanks.
mean to you on the last episode. I would like to open up the opportunity for you to be mean to us. If you
I
are
don't want
so
to be mean
inclined.
to you.
Oh.
No.
So you're taking the high road?
I just take things for what they are. That's all. It is what it is. It ain't what it ain't.
I feel this is his way of getting
I feel
back.
that's like some Jedi mind trick.
It
right
is.
there.
'Cause I feel even worse that he's not
I know,
beating
I'm
up
like-
on me.
You want to share more stuff about your dad so we can, so we can just destroy it?
Who cares? I say.
Yeah, I agree. I think it adds to the charm.
My question is, do you think that Robert Johnson was a genius, or do you think he was just happy doing music like he did music?
That's too profound a question for us.
Well, I don't know what a genius is. I think he was just playing what he felt,
mean,
and
people-
it just happened to be genius, I think.
Ooh.
I don't think anybody... I think there's musical geniuses that they don't think of themselves as that. They just play what's out there or what they feel, and when it comes out, it just happens to change the face of music.
And that
like
was a
he did.
deep answer. Deep question, deep answer. I'm not even going to pour into that. 'Cause I'm just going to ruin it. So there you go.
I felt like he probably wasn't. I don't mean this in a derogatory way. I don't feel that he was a genius IQ wise. I feel that he was just doing what he had to do.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
That's why, yeah, he,
And
was,
it- and
he
it
wasn't
came
like
out-
a musical genius, or it's
right.
he just happened to play what
Worked for
just
him.
happened to change the.
Right. Yeah,
So
and
many-
it was
so
brilliant.
many-
happens. Yep.
So many say that about
Yep.
him, that he was a musical genius.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
really
That kind of goes
agree
back
with
to my question. Does he even know he was in like an
Yeah.
open G tuning or
Right.
E tuning? Or
Well,
He,
yeah, and when
he
we
just did whatever worked.
exactly. Yep.
and when we start talking about genius, really, what is genius? You know, because
Yep.
you know, you can say, All right, Einstein was
They're
a
just
genius.
playing the guitar.
Right, but
Yeah.
if
See, now Einstein was a genius.
right, but
when you're playing the guitar, you ain't no genius. You're just playing the guitar.
yeah, right. But what I'm getting at is genius
Albert
is
Einstein explained the cosmos.
yeah, but could he fix his car if it broke down?
It
so
doesn't
genius,
matter. He's still a genius.
Well,
There's
I don't-
mechanics for that.
But what I'm getting
There's
at,
another guy you can go, hey, can you explain the cosmos to me?
Yeah.
There's only one dude that was Isaac Newton. There's like hundreds of thousands of people that can fix a car.
Yeah.
well, maybe so.
So is it better to be a genius or a mechanic?
Well,
What I
that's a
was
different question,
What I
I
was
guess.
getting at is genius is in the time of need.
Yes.
Someone who is considered a genius is not the smartest guy in the room. So genius can be
Yeah. Yes.
specific to the
Yeah,
moment.
I got you.
So that's where I was trying to go with that. But you
I totally ruined it.
shut up, man.
Son of a bitch.
Unicorn. You know what's funny?
I even said that really low, too.
You know what's funny? Is I don't think we've ever explained what unicorn means. Whenever we say unicorn,
You'll find out.
You got to be a little
asking-
quicker. You got to hit it right when he says.
So the first episode where you and I got a little too saucy, Bob asked me one day, he goes, I'd totally forgotten the unicorn thing. And he understand. I was like, he goes, where's the unicorn, man? And I was like, I looked at Bob like, I think he's having a stroke. Or I'm having a stroke one. And I went, what? He goes, the unicorn, man. Where's the unicorn? And I was like, Zonky? It's right down the road. He goes, no, the unicorn. And then I went, oh, the
Yeah.
unicorn. I'm even the one who came up with the
Yeah,
freaking
right.
unicorn.
Duh.
All right, so anyway, someday we'll explain the unicorn.
You'll find out. You'll know.
They probably already
right.
figured it out.
All right, so
My question,
yes,
better Crossroads cover, Jimi Hendrix or Eric Clapton?
Clapton, because I'm not a Hendrix fan. I don't like Hendrix.
Me too, and I've never heard them.
Yeah, but I can tell you right now, yeah,
Okay.
it would be.
Interesting.
No, I have Clapton,
Yeah.
but I would say it would be him.
Now, was it the Clapton version or the Cream version?
I'd say Cream version.
Yeah, because that was pretty good. They were nailing
Cream
it.
version, because they had the band going
That's
on
right.
that one, too.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of Jimi Hendrix as a subject sometime.
Yeah.
I don't particularly
Yeah.
care for him, but
So now we don't have to do the episode.
Yeah. No, so clearly he likes Jimi Hendrix. So
Yeah.
let's nudge him to do it, and we can beat the crap out of him. We could be.
We don't even have to do
Yeah.
it. Now I know both of you hate it, and I like it, so.
Well, you
But-
don't know my whole
Actually,
feeling.
I don't like it, so there you go.
Well, you know what? Your mom.
and that's never held him up before.
Your mom. and
mom?
his mom. Both
Bang-
of your moms.
Man,
My mom was a Marine.
both of our moms.
I was just trying to scare
They
you.
didn't have, your mom wasn't a Marine. They didn't do that back then.
No.
They had Marines back then.
They did. They were
Not
called-
women Marines.
Yes, they did.
They were called nurses.
No,
No.
they were called WAMs. You ever remember WAMs Marines? That's what they called them.
That actually served?
Yes. All right. So again, we're speaking historical stuff here.
Yeah.
We're not trying to say that we believe that derogatory term is a right term or not. But
All right.
I mean, I don't want to make the 3 female fans we have mad at us.
No.
Did you ask your question?
My question is,
We're all-
question is this: do you think he sold his soul?
No,
Why not?
because Ike taught him to play the guitar.
Ooh.
And Ike learned to play the guitar himself sitting on a tombstone in a graveyard.
Okay. Who's Ike?
Like Turner?
Yeah, it was Ike Turner.
I don't know. Bob is the master at saying funny things in a serious way where you go, oh yeah, okay, I believe that. Then you realize later you've been duped by Bob.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, it makes sense that he and Ike Turner would do something because
I mean,
Ike
I
Turner was
guess,
smacking
yeah.
down everyone that he could find.
Ike wasn't around. That Ike wasn't around.
Right.
But well, he might have been.
I don't know.
He might have been. But no, it was some guy named Ike in Arkansas.
Oh, I remember that now. Yeah. He went to Arkansas for 6 months.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They didn't give his last name.
Yeah.
So.
It was Demon, Ike Demon.
I think
It was
Turner.
Ike D. Devil.
Drop D.
D for devil.
Like the devil's clever.
Yeah, the devil's not. He thinks he is.
I
So,
think he did.
I think he did too.
There's too much about it.
Yeah. It's the legend that won't
Yeah.
die.
Think about that for a minute, Bob.
I mean, look how many legends have been told about you, Bob, and
I know.
only the ones that are real stuck around.
Yeah, we're gonna push this nunnery thing really
Yeah,
hard.
So we've got
Yeah.
a website that we've been uploading stuff to about Bob
Have
and your
you?
history. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah,
I'm
I told
flattered.
you when I first met him, he wouldn't tell anybody anything about himself.
Yeah.
So we made up this whole backstory, man. He was on the grassy knoll.
Yep.
You know, he was a roadie for the Eagles.
Hate the Eagles. That's a big Lebowski reference, by the way.
Man.
What a great look! We literally had a Big Lebowski conversation at supper the other
He
night.
hates the
Yeah.
Eagles.
You-
That's what he says.
I
all
know.
the-
You and Andy left too soon. We had some epic conversations over supper. Oh, by the way, thank you. I won $50.
Did you? Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to tell you.
We watched him win it.
Yeah.
Nice. He didn't share it, did he?
Nope.
No.
I rubbed it in their noses. In it.
Yeah. It's
So,
good meal.
The
anyway.
context there is it was my birthday. We went bowling. Our families went bowling together. And my sister was there, and she told stories about how I nearly died and some other things. And then Andrew bought me, and Andy gives me this cheesy ass birthday card.
Did you see the birthday
It was
card I got him?
hysterical. It was
I didn't
awesome.
see it.
Said you're like as cute as a cupcake or something like that. It's like a 3-year-old birthday
Yeah,
card.
it had glitter. And it was pink. it was brilliant, dude. And then there were scratch-off tickets. I never gamble. Not because I don't want to gamble. It's just I never stop long enough to do it. But
You
sat
don't
there.
know when to hold them, when to fold them.
That's right. So we literally sat there. Everybody had bated breath while I scratched it off. And at one point, I didn't know I won anything. They're like, no, you won something. I'm like, no, I didn't.
Nice.
And he's scratching them and
Yeah, flicking his stuff.
yeah. Everybody thought it was pepper.
So all right. So anyway, so there we go.
All right, we wrapping her.
We're wrapping
I
it.
guess
Final
so.
thoughts, kids.
I love
Nothing?
it. I think it's going to be around for another 100 years.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
Awesome.
I it's probably not something I would listen to on a regular basis.
Yeah, you got to throw it out there every year, or couple of years, or
But
so.
that's like
Yeah.
a lot of others.
Yep. All right, that wraps up another one. Listen to the legend that will not die, Robert Johnson. We enjoyed this one.
Yeah. And let us know in the comments.
Yeah, what you guys think?
Do you think that he sold his soul to the devil?
That's a good question.
Yes.
As always, stay uncool. Like what you like. Subscribe, please. 100 subscribers.
Taylor
We have to
Swift.
suffer through a Taylor Swift album. Deuces.